Because I kept noticing that every time I applied for other jobs, they never came to me, even when I did so well in the tests or interviews most of the time. Somehow they never came to me. But media was a job that I never, ever, ever applied for per se. I just walk in and I get the job. There's never a long set of interviews to conduct. I just get it. The instant I step into that space and say, I would like to do this, and we have that conversation, I get the job instantly. So I realized that this is what I was meant to do. Whether people were already standing in the spaces that I admired and said, good job, well done, you have yourself a niche. People like Oprah Winfrey to CNN or Opia, all these ladies were fantastic in their own capacity. And they were the ones who made us look at TV and say, wow, these women are good and you can be as good as that, even carve your own path and be very exceptional in your own space. So yeah, those were the people. John Moore, for example, is another guy who I looked at back then like, oh, he knows his job. So for me, it was a mix of both male and female that were inspiring in the sense of, they are doing their thing, we too.
Now, would you say that journalism or doing journalism, maybe in general sense of it in Nigeria, is a difficult job? I mean, are there some challenges facing journalism in Nigeria?
There's quite a lot of challenges, as any other business will have challenges. But most of them, most importantly, I would say, is the constant government harassment of journalists. It has to stop. They cannot harass journalists. It's against the law, and they break the law when they do that, and there are consequences for breaking the law. We are the fourth estate, so the federal government, the state governors, and the apparatus, and those who work for them, their aides and special assistants, or whatever they choose to call themselves by the title they prefer any given day, on any given day that is, they should learn to respect the fourth estate. Because after the executive is the legislature, the judiciary, and the media. So by constitution, we are recognized by the constitution.
We believe that everyone has a story to share. We believe in the power of storytelling in today's digital economy. Yes, we believe that our audience need to be touched at the level of emotion so we can better engage. What about you? Do you believe in storytelling as much as we do? Do you want to reach the hearts and minds of your audience? Then join us in our online training class, Storytelling for Content Creators and Digital Entrepreneurs. Come to obehi1food.com/storytelling and learn how to leverage your storytelling skills so you can earn more as a content creator and digital entrepreneur. Storytelling is a powerful instrument at our disposal. Let's explore it together. See you in the class.
So my message to all politicians and the political structure and the federal government and state government is you cannot harm a journalist. If you feel a journalist has done something wrong, there are legal processes and ways to go about it. You cannot use violence on journalists. It should stop. It's not done. Then we've seen situations where even the media space is now almost being dominated in terms of ownership by persons who are in politics, who are politicians in one way or the other. I'm not saying they shouldn't delve into the media, but because politicians are more dominant in these spaces, it kind of affects the quality of and professionalism, the output, and even the hiring of expertise in these spaces, which sometimes can water down the quality of the content, as we talk, quality of the professionalism in terms of how they deliver on the job, and even in terms of the recruitment process, and even the internal policies and political agenda that drives the station. And then we've seen situations where lack of roads, lack of lights only increases the bill overhead that the musicians have to cope with. It's insane the amount you just require just to be able to start up a radio station. I have been privileged to start up a number of radio stations from scratch. And in doing so, serving as a pioneer in many capacities, I learned that the regulatory bodies too have a crucial role in how they help make sure they make it the ease of doing business in these spaces. friendly, especially professionals who need space so that we can have a better media engagement, media narrative, media inclusiveness in the Nigerian system where we are. Aside from that, we also have to deal with remunerations. Those are important things. Situation where the media practitioners are devalued in terms of pay, not very encouraging. I think that there are no other outstanding stations who are paying regularly, but there are a number of stations who are also paying regularly. Time to time, they never owe their staff. We have good examples of those. So, see a situation will have more of those kinds of people do that. Mentioned that all fire critical to the enabling of that. And then the universities need to churn out professionals. So the universities also need to work with well-seasoned professionals in that space. It's not academic lecturers. Academic lecturers do not offer the students anything. We now have practicing experienced journalists or media practitioners, as broadcasters, in any capacity have served, even as media general managers and stuff like that. These are the kind of people they want to be employing in the education spaces, and then they go on to do further academic courses in addition to the experience and not the other. Yeah. So overall, I would say for me, my journey in the media has been a fascinating one. I have been very blessed. I have been a multi-award-winning media executive, journalist, broadcaster, anchor, and even a human capital development expert. I have trained over thousands of people, several thousands of persons in the Niger Delta in terms of the entertainment industry, in terms of media, the arts. I've seen many of them even gone on to become entrepreneurs in their own right. And I'm happy I've been able to be critical in adding value to that space. I mean, when you talk about that space, yes, I am somebody that can be mentioned and said she also added and made impact in that.
Now, in your own judgment, what makes a good journalism?
Good journalism really is driven by understanding that there's the ethics of journalism. That's the foundation, that's the basis. You cannot veer off the ethics of journalism for fairness, for truth, for speaking truth to power, for giving the right, accurate data, for being trustworthy, being somebody who is also able to drive a community agenda for the public masses and address issues in your area. The most powerful thing about good journalism is that you are making impact, and the impact is such that it's measurable. People can see that what you have done has created the difference for good. You are able to expose what is hidden. You are able to help the citizens gain their voices. There's supposed to be a platform where people should be able to use that platform to be good. So one of the key rules of journalism and a journalist is that you should be well researched. You should have the data at your fingertip. They must be as accurate as possible. The barest minimum and hit at. And when you know you've said something that is not right, you have to recount and make an apology for that, and actually rewrite the story if you have to, or follow up that story and say, look, and make sure that people are aware that that correction has been done. And that's why it's not about breaking the news first. It's about breaking accurate news first. And that's where the goal should really be. So any person who wants to be a journalist, you must be driven, you must have passion for the job, you must be somebody who enjoys data gathering, your research must be deep. You must also have great interviewing skills. You must be one who is able to communicate very effectively. Your choice of words, your tone, your manner, all of that are all encompassing in making sure that you know what you're doing. And it's good to just understand that you cannot rest on your laurels. So it's not enough to say, I have a first degree in mass comm. No, it's about the experience. So you have to continuously expose yourself to different formats of the journalistic ecosystem, the spaces you have. So there's development journalism, there is investigative journalism, there's beat reporting, there is solutions journalism. There are various kinds of journalism in the many facets of it. So having a grasp of all of them, even data journalism is an interesting aspect. So you navigate these spaces and expose yourself. So you're a whole lot rounder than just being one thing in the space of journalism. Editing, writing speech, writing capacity, your proofreading, all things are very, very key as well. So that when you write out a good story, you inspire people to take action based on your story. And you must know that you have to curtail your biases, all of that biases. But as a journalist, you have got to reduce it to the barest minimum and not allow your bias infiltrate or stain your investigative work or even the report that you put out there. Those, I would say, are some of the key things that are critical, even though there are others one can dig into particularly.
Thank you so much for that. That is really powerful. Now, I don't know if you want to touch a little bit on the civic intelligence and civic engagement, because we didn't make mention of it sometime in the conversation. You want to say anything about that?
Wow, that's a good one. Civic intelligence is knowing that you, as a citizen, develop your citizen IQ. Just like you have an IQ, intelligence quotient, either you're born with it or sometimes people are raised in a manner that they actually increase their IQ.